Good evening, everyone. This is Ilse Strauss from the Bridges for Peace headquarters in the most beautiful city in the whole wide world, the city of the great King, Jerusalem. It's the first night of Hanukkah, the 7th of December, and with us tonight we have Major Avihu Cohen.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach, Avihu. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's such a special treat.
Thank you.
You are here to light the candles for us, to say the blessing, and to feast on the Sufganiyot with us.
Can't wait for that.
But before we get started on that, I would like you to introduce yourself to our guests tonight.
Yeah, so my name is Avihu Cohen. I am 46 years old, a major in the IDF in reserves. I'm a proud father of 9 beautiful children. Live in Bet Shemesh, which is in between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, where David defeated Goliath, actually. I'm actually a builder, construction builder, but I do have a heart for Jewish and Christians relationship. And I think we are in a time that we all need to work together and joint efforts, because we are facing a huge challenge. And we need to work together. In 2001, my father was killed by in terrorist attack. I, after that, decided to start an organization called One Family Fund, which is an organization who works to help victims of terror, people of bereaved families, as well as wounded people. And during that time, I traveled around the world to raise funds for our programs, and I met Christians that loves Israel and want to help. And I want you to know that for us, the Israelis, the Jews in general, everything that come across with the cross is basically problematic for us. And it took me a while to understand that there are good people who believe in the same values that we believe in the same God that we believe in the same country that we are living in, and want to, in a very genuine way, to help us and to support us. And it was amazing to find out there are millions of people around the world that actually supporting you. As a Jews, we always feel like, we are the underdog. And suddenly I realized there are millions of people, hundreds of millions actually, that actually their heart is with us. And it was amazing. I tried to share it with my friends and my community. It wasn't that easy, but it's a journey. I think that today, when I tell people I come to speak with Bridges for Peace, they must say, great, amazing.
I think actually that's one of the good things that came from the October 7th attacks, that people are open, willing for relationship.
Unfortunately, October 7th was a major wake-up call for us. And I told you the story, the beautiful story, amazing story of a rabbi back in Europe 200 years ago, that his grandchild play in the yard with his friend seek and hide. And suddenly he came home and started crying, and he asked him, why are you crying? He said, because nobody's seeking for me. And then the grandfather, the rabbi, started to cry. He says, wow, it's amazing. It's exactly like us. God is hiding and nobody's seeking for him. So I think that was a major wake-up call for us this October 7th. And through the presentation, we'll go through that and try to show you how.
Avihu, that is so profound, because it's one of the things that Henry and we've been speaking about that often, is that we have never been more aware of God in Israel. We've never seen his presence more clearly than we do now. But before you and I get started into a whole of other different conversations, Avihu, tonight we want to speak about the situation that we found ourselves in. It's Israel facing Hamas on the battlefield, but it's not as simple as that. It's within a whole global regional context. And how do we find ourselves here, and where on earth is here?
Okay, so let's start, if not with the beginning, because that we need the 4 hours, but let's start with Sykes-Picot Agreement 1916. As you can see, basically this is the picture, that's the map of the Middle East. The pink one is all the countries that controlled by Britain. The blue one, which is Syria, Lebanon, and Algeria, controlled by France, and the rest are more independent states. That was the picture in Sykes-Picot Agreement in the First World War One.
So just to be clear on this was post-World War I, following the loss of the Ottoman Empire.
Exactly. When the British and the British Empire basically took over the Ottoman one. And as we all know, in 1917, British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour declared a famous declaration about the Jewish homeland, and in 1947, petition plan in the UN resolution, basically dividing the land to 2 nations. One is Jewish state, and the other one, which is important, Arab state, not a Palestinian state.
Mm-hmm.
The whole Palestinian thing is something that nobody, I'm sure that a lot of people not aware of. It's basically, it's a new thing.
Right.
PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, was founded in Jerusalem in 1964, way far after Israel was established. The word Palestine is actually, it's a Roman word. After the Romans expelled the Jews from Judea, that time from Jerusalem, they tried to erase any connection to the Jews, and instead of calling it Judea, they call it Palestine as some kind of the Philistines. So that's important thing to understand, that it was Arab state and a Jewish state.
Let's just also be clear on this. The Palestinians of today, what is their connection to the ancient Philistines of the Bible?
There is no connection.
Why?
Because there is no connection. Do I have a connection to the Indian in Oklahoma?
But what happened to the ancient Philistines? Weren't they annihilated under the Assyrian Empire?
You know, the Christians are much more knowledgeable with the Bible than the Jews. You know it by heart. So you know that there were 7 people, the Hivite, the Hittites, and so on and so on.
You're right.
Where are all of those? Gone, assimilated, became Christians, Muslim, immigrated, whatever.
Okay, so let's move on to, because this, as we see here on the map, this is a 2-stage solution.
2-stage solution, 1947,
yes.
29 of
the answer was?
Yeah, the answer was that, the Jews accept that. The Arabs, of course, didn't. 1948, that's the map. In 1948, 7 armies invaded to that time Israel from all the surrounding, from Egypt, from Transjordan, from Syria, Lebanon, and other armies from Iraq, from Morocco, from Yemen, and so on and so forth. In 1948, in the ceasefire alliance, basically we got the West Bank and of course Gaza. That's the important thing to know, that the West Bank, the Gaza was actually part of Egypt, and Judea and Samaria was part of Jordan until 1967. The one who ruled the whole West Bank was Jordan. That's why it's called the West Bank, because the East Bank is Transjordan, and the West Bank is Judea and Samaria. Now, one important thing to know: people say that everybody says occupied territory, occupied territory, occupied territory. Occupied who exactly, from where?
Exactly.
Who controlled this land before we came here in 1948? Nobody. Okay, so to the King Hussein, basically in 1989, I think declared that he doesn't want to have any connection with Judea and Samaria. So basically, this land is no man's land, exactly like Antarctica. There was not even one time that was a Palestinian government or regime that actually was independent in this region. And everybody talk about Palestinians, but until 48, nobody talked about that.
So basically, this is the biggest invention.
This is the biggest invention, I think it's part of what it says in the book of in Dvarim, Deuteronomy.
No,
It says
numbers. Yeah.
numbers. Deuteronomy is Vayikra, right?
Yes.
So in Dvarim, it says very clearly that, in Parashat Ki Tavo, there is 98 curses on the Israelites if they are not misled and don't obey God in deeds. So one of them says, God will bring upon you an enemy that doesn't have a name, that you never know before that. So it's hiding, and you need to stay from it.
I haven't even connected.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on with the history. I know everybody knows the history. We had the 56 war, then the 6-day war, 1967, 73, Yom Kippur. And then basically after 73, I think the Israeli society has changed a little bit. Until then, we felt that we are in some kind of emergency situation since Israel has been established. After 73, even though the war was very difficult, at the end of the day, we actually expanded the alliance of Israel because the IDF almost reached 100 kilometers from Cairo and 40 kilometers from Damascus. And we felt like undefeatable, right? We strong. Kochi ve'otzim, my strength. We'll do whatever it takes, and we can start to see the Israeli society become more secular, more individual. People start to forget about the whole idealism of the Zionism and never again and all those sort of things, and start to think more about themselves more in the Western eyes. So suddenly we have this Intifada in 1987. It started in Jabalia refugee camp. So in 1987, our story basically starts when the Palestinians start to rise and ask for their own right, and the whole the Palestinian flag basically start to raise around the world with a lot of support, of course, from many Arab states.
So when we say the establishment of the PLO in 1964, right? Yes. So it took approximately 20 years for that sense of nationalism to be established, and for a cry to go out to say, now we want a state, now we are a people.
Yeah, because let's face it, their life circumstances wasn't so easy. At the end of the day, they were living under a military administration, and they didn't have the equal rights. Let's say the truth, they didn't have the rights that we have, and they felt discriminated. So through the whole idea of we are a minority, we need to have people to recognize us, and so forth. This is how we start to raise.
And just not to be taken out of context, when you say, when you speak about the inequality, this is not related to Arabs within Israel. This is within Gaza, yes, Judea and Samaria.
Yes, the Arab in Israel, which is now about 2 million people, have completely equal rights to Israelis. They have a blue ID, and they free to do whatever they want. Actually, another thing that nobody think about: we, as the Jews, the Israeli Jews, we are not allowed to go to the Palestinian Authority, Area 8. So that was 1987. In 1992. The Oslo Accords, this is 1994, Prime Minister Rabin and Yasser Arafat, the mega terrorist, together with Bill Clinton, signed this agreement of Gaza and Jericho in the beginning. Israel withdraw from Gaza Strip and from Jericho, and slowly from the rest of the center of the cities in Judea and Samaria.
So, just to clarify again, this was the beginning of what the Palestinians had asked for.
Exactly.
This was the dawn of a two-state solution.
Exactly.
Gaza, the first part, Jericho within Judea and Samaria.
Yes.
So this was exactly what they had been asking for all along.
Yes. Okay. When Israel will withdraw from the West Bank, from the cities, they start to develop their industry of killing. That is an industry. It's not, somebody wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to stop somebody. In their books, in their education system, in every part of their life, Israel is not exist in their maps, not exist at all. Okay, Jaffa is existing, Haifa exists, Akka exists, Jerusalem exists, Tel Aviv not exist, Ashdod not exist, all the settlements of course not exist, all the kibbutzim are not exist. Like I said, 1964, there was no Palestinian, no nothing under Jordan. PLO, Palestine Liberation Organization. From the river to the sea, Palestinians will be free.
Meaning no Israel.
No Israel. So after unfortunately all those bombs and all those hundreds of people that were killed, we went on, and I'm now talking about a little bit more zoom out about what happened in the greater Middle East, because it's connected at the end.
Right.
So in September 11, 2001, it's very famous. Everybody knows. Osama bin Laden struck the Twin Towers in New York, and basically America invaded into Afghanistan, going after him. And after that, in 2003, decided to invade also to Iraq. And after also kept Mr. Saddam Hussein, the president of Iraq, and he was hanged later on. And basically, and that's nothing that we're going to talk a little bit more about the Shiite and the Sunnis, but in Iraq, in the United States, which is like, I said United States, but it's the whole West, the whole G8, they think that the only solution to all the problems is democracy. Democracy will heal everything here. So they decided to announce a democratic state in Iraq. Now we need to understand that during let's say the 50, 60 years before that, all the Arab states was a dictatorship. There was no democracy. There are clans. There is one clan, another one. This is more jihadist, another one is less. The only way to control those guys is with power. If you let them be the democracy, that's the end of the story. And that's what's happening today in Iraq. 20 years later, still suicide bombing on a daily basis. Nobody talks about it because nobody cares. Okay, so basically that's a really important slide. This is a map of the Middle East. You can see Iran in the middle, which is Shiites, right. And Afghanistan and Iraq are Sunnis. In a nutshell, what's the difference between Sunnis and Shiites? Islam was founded in 620. By Muhammad moving to Mecca, and when he passed away in 638, he didn't announce appointed anybody to continue his way. So there was a council that chose the caliphate, which in caliphate means the replacement. Okay, so there was 3 caliphates, no one their names. And his cousin, his name was Ali. Okay, Ali claimed that he's supposed to be the caliphate. Unfortunately for him, the council decided that he won't be the first one, and not the second one, and not even the third one, only the fourth one. Okay? So, by the way, how the caliphate is replaced? They were murdered. This is how the way. Yeah. This is how they continue and they continue the prophet way by killing each other. So Ali, his son was Hussein. Ali, of course, was assassinated after a few years, and the caliphate moved back to a different one. And Hussein, his son, said, "How come? You killed my father, and now you also inherit you become a caliphate." He started to rebel, and then the caliphate killed him. Okay, when they killed him, the people, the Shia means like a string, Shia, a string, or a party. Okay, so they said, listen, Ali, which was the first cousin of Muhammad, he's like the true believer of Muhammad, and therefore all those caliphites that go replacing each other basically worth nothing. He's the real one. They are the fake. And that's basically the difference between Sunnis and Shiites. See, by the way, the Shiites is only 16% of the Muslim population, and they're the underdog. So during the year, since Islam was established, the Shiites were the underdog, and they were massacred, and they were completely in a. They were hiding because they were afraid from the Sunnis. That's in a nutshell. Okay, so let's go back to the situation here. So after America defeat the Afghanistan regime, okay, so we have a Western regime now in Afghanistan, the same thing in Iraq. So what happened that the Iranians that were busy in decades of war against Iraq, against Afghanistan, became free. And as you can see, Iran is a very large country, has a lot of resources, oil, gas, and so forth. And basically, we're free to do whatever they want. And this is what we got. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, this guy decided that now it's the time for the Shia to move forward. And what he did, he basically said 1.5 million pasdarans, that's Farsi, which are soldiers of like that. They are like the one who carry the word of the Shiites. Okay, the Islamic Shiites revolution through the world. Okay, so they did it to Iraq, they did it to Lebanon. Basically, started Hezbollah, also in Syria. And now starting to grow, sending their proxies all around. Okay, also in Yemen, we have the Houthis, we'll talk about it later. So basically now Iran, which is free from both Afghanistan and Iraq, are free to do whatever they want, which is terrorize the world. Okay?
Makes sense.
Makes sense. A few words about Hezbollah. Hezbollah is our serious enemy in the north, in Lebanon. It's not a terrorist, it's actually an army, very well trained, very well funded, 150,000 rockets covering the entire state of Israel, about 100,000 soldiers, Marine and Air Force, and annual budget of $1 billion coming from Iran. Of course, Iran is the one who is funding it. And again, the idea is to export the revolution, the Shiite revolution. Now in Lebanon, it's a state of mixed groups. There is the Druze, there is the Christians, and there is the Muslims. Most of the Muslims are Shiites. So he found a very comfortable place to work with and start to develop this Hezbollah. Hezbollah, by the way, means party of God. Okay, the party of God. You can see the symbol, very peaceful people with the Kalashnikov. Yeah. So, and of course, like I said before, as you can see, very tight connection between Nasrallah and Iran. Moving on with the history, now we are in 2005, after 4 years of a lot of casualties, and people were killed. More than 1,000 Israelis were killed almost on a daily bombing in Israel, all around Israel. Israel decided to basically evacuate all its troops and its settlers from Gaza. Gaza Strip, by the way, it's 40 kilometers length on 7th wide on the north and 14 in the south. In the south part of Gaza, as you can see in red, that was the Jewish settlements, Gush Katif. 10,000 people Jews were living there. And as I said, in 2005, in August 2005, Ariel Sharon decided to basically disengage from Gaza. Very, very, very sad time in our history. when the Israelis soldiers evacuated Jews from their houses. As you can see, people crying, praying. And after we evacuated, there was the synagogue that remained there. That's another thing that the very important, interesting anecdote. Actually, with the Christians, the synagogues over there, there was a debate: should we destroy it or not? Because Israel destroyed the whole houses. So people said, "What? Jews gonna destroy synagogues? How come?" But then the other side says, "Yeah, but they're gonna disgrace it." So what happened was the chief rabbi of Israel sent a letter to George Bush, and he wrote him, as a believer, as a Christian, you need to make sure that those Muslims, those Arabs won't harm the synagogues. Of course, it didn't happen, but suddenly the Jews understood that there is Christians that can help them.
So let's just be clear about this too. The pull out of Gaza in 2005, that was an attempt to curb the second intifada, to curb the violence, to say, okay, guys, we give you what you say you want. Now stop, please.
We withdraw, by the way, we withdraw to the international border of 48. So you don't have any claim that we took 1 inch or whatever. It's all yours. Do whatever you want. And as you can see, after Israel was disengaged from Gaza, all the settlements was basically erased, and it's become. I choose a very difficult word, strong word, Judenrein, which is a Nazi word for areas without the Jews.
Right.
Okay, moving forward, 2007, Hamas took over the Gaza Strip. There were elections in the Palestinian Authority, and Hamas won. And when Hamas won, everybody was shocked. Hamas won? So, we talked about democracy, PLO, Western, secular, they wanted democracy, flourishing, blah, 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 prosperity. Suddenly Hamas took over, and Hamas won. So what happened? United States, EU, of course, Israel, and the PA says, so what? You won in the elections, so what? Nobody respected, nobody accepted. So they said, hey, what do you mean? We won. If you don't give it to us in the right way, we'll take it. So in 3 weeks, there was a major clashing between the Hamas and the PLO. More than 400 PLO people were killed, actually thrown from rooftops and whatever, and Hamas took over. When Hamas took over, those guys, and developed a huge military industry, took millions of dollars instead of using it to benefit the people, build houses and whatever. They build tunnels, they build this industry. And of course, this guy, Yahya Sinwar, by the way, was in Israeli jail, was released in 2011.
What was he arrested for?
He arrested for killing collaborators.
So not for killing
Jewish. No. He was in Israeli jail. He actually had cancer, brain cancer, and somehow Israel treated him and saved his life. And there is a whole documentary about it. And they said, what Yahya Sinwar told you, the doctor, what he told you after you saved his life? He says, thank you very much. You did your work. I'll continue with my way. Meaning, when I raise all of you. I put this picture because you need to see that they are not only about the present, they're about the future. They're raising their children on hatred against Israel in a brutal way. Like you see youth camps, of course in the school system and in the summer camps, whatever. It's all about resistance. It's all about ammunition. It's all about power. And this is how you can explain how come those terrorists in October 7th did those horrible things that they did, because their hatred toward us is something that you cannot even understand, because they've been fed, since they
Part of who you
part of
are.
the soul, exactly.
Now, before we go on, Hamas, they have never claimed that their aim is a two-state solution to live side by side with their Jewish nation, their brethren. This is not their aim. Their aim is what is specifically said in their charter, the annihilation of all of Israel.
Now, I want to say something. The conflict here is not only about the state or the land or the gas or the resource or the water, whatever. It's religious. That's the core. Yeah. And in a nutshell, Jerusalem, I told you before, is not mentioned in the Bible, in the Quran, even once. In the Bible, it's mentioned more than 3,000 times. Now, how come, according to their belief, Jerusalem is the third holiest place in the world, after Mecca and the grave of Muhammad in Medina. So how come a place that is the third holiest place is not mentioned even once in the Quran? How come?
Don't have the answer.
Right? They call everything that the reason for all their riots and all their attacks is Al-Aqsa. Al-Aqsa. We had 2 years ago. We had the Shomer Chomot operation during the Jerusalem Day festival. They started to attack Israel because it says whatever went on the Temple Mount. So what? He went on the temple. What's the big deal? No, Israel is taking over the mountain. They want to destroy Al-Aqsa. They want to build the temple, and so on and so forth. By the way, if you read the Quran, the beginning of the Quran is exactly like the Bible. The world was created in 6 days, Adam and Eve, and Noah with the ark, the flood. They call it typhoon. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, the whole thing with Joseph. 12 tribes, Egypt, the whole thing in Egypt, the 10 tribes of Egypt, the divide of the sea, all the story.
Yeah.
Exactly like the Catholic, they said, replacement theology. God was upset on the Israelites, and he chose Muhammad. And Muhammad came with the Islam. Because if you read the Bible, it's exactly, if you read the Quran, it's like the Bible. The same thing, exactly. He said one thing. Instead of Abraham taking Isaac, bring him onto the altar, instead of that's Ishmael. That's it. Besides that, everything is the same.
So basically, God got upset with the Jewish people, and then he decided, no, he is going to start again with Islam.
Exactly. Yes.
There is nothing new under the sun, is there?
Now, according to the Islam, a few words about it. According to the Islam, there is Dar al-Harb and Dar al-Salam. Okay, Dar al-Salam is where the Muslims living, place of peace. Dar al-Harb, which is a place of war. Okay, now the Jews, the Jewish people, there is a definition in the Quran between the Jews of today and the Israelites. Bani Israel, they call it Bani Israel, the Israelites from the Bible period. And by the way, they also say there was a King Solomon and King Dawood, and he built the temple, everything. And by the way, there is a pamphlet that was established. It was published by the Mufti Haj Hamid al-Husseini in 1947. When there is a pamphlet about the Temple Mount. And I'll show you, and it says Mount Moriah. Mount Moriah, not Haram al-Sharif, no Al-Aqsa Mosque, no nothing. How come Mount Moriah? Also, in 1950-something, the Tourism Ministry of Jordan also published a map of the holy site of Jerusalem as a tourist site. It also says Mount Moriah. Absalom Zachariah tomb, Absalom pillar. There is a map that actually writes it. No Haram al-Sharif, no Al-Aqsa, no nothing. The whole thing of Jerusalem, it's a basically it's a new item. It's a new thing that they would like to get the people involved. So the whole thing of Jerusalem, the flood of Jerusalem, Al-Aqsa, it's just something that to get the flames on, to make it relevant for the people. Because think about the simple Gazian person. What does he have? Nothing. He doesn't have a work. He doesn't have money. He hardly has a transportation. He doesn't have a future. He doesn't have even freedom. And the first one to say that Gaza is the biggest jail in the world. It is. But whose fault is this?
Not Israel.
When as I told you, I'm a builder contractor.
Yeah.
I have in the normal days 60 Palestinians that works for me. When the war started, I sent them a video and I said, it's about time to free Palestine from Hamas, because they are kept by those terrorists.
Avihu, that's something that I've spoken to a number of Arabs here in Jerusalem, and it's something that all of them say to me. Free the Palestinians from Hamas.
Let them say it online.
Yeah, that's difficult.
It's difficult.
That's difficult.
And I think the West need to understand that the whole issue is about the existence of Israel. Why they hate us so much? I mean, why Iran, which are Shiites, collaborating with Hamas, which are Sunnis? I mean, it's insane. Because on a daily basis, they will slaughter each other. Because our existence here is basically slapping in their face. Because if they say the reverse methodology that we are not the chosen one, they are, how can we have a state? How can we control Israel? Because according to the Quran, the Jew could live under the Islamic regime, but he needs to be undermined. He needs to pay a monthly tax. And he can't, let's say, ride the horse. He has to go on the sewage instead of the pedestrian. If you see a Muslim, if he's riding on his donkey, there is a Muslim walking towards him, he needs to go down. When he pays his jizya, which is the monthly tax, he needs to get beaten. His house can be above Muslim houses. Synagogues can be above mosques and so forth. So they do accept Jews, most of them. All those caliphates and all those regimes always has a Jewish counselor, the minister of finance, this advisor, that advisor, according to the history, all around the history. They do understand that the value of the Jews, but for the Jews to be independent, to say that we are strong and stand for themselves, it can't be. And our existence here, it's again basically break all parts of the Quran. That's basically it.
Wow.
So,
yeah, what are we looking at?
We move forward to 2011, the Arab Spring. Everybody says, hey, it's about time for all those poor people that were living decades under dictatorship to come free, democracy. And what happened? In Tunisia, and nada. In Egypt, Muslim Brotherhood actually won the election with Mohammed Morsi. In Libya, civil war until today. Yemen, civil war. Houthi extreme Shia terrorists, we'll talk about them later. And of course, in Syria, enormous civil war between all those organizations and societies. And basically, that's the equation. Arab Springs, meaning extreme Islam, would bring us to that. ISIS. ISIS flag, by the way, it says, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Right? There is no God beside God, and Muhammad is the disciple. So that's basically ISIS vision. They call Asia Khorasan. Okay, that's the area of China and Russia. Okay. Of course, the Middle East is called Hijaz. Yemen is Yemen. the land of Habasha, which is basically South Africa,
Right.
and Central Africa, and West Africa, the Maghreb, which is in Arabic, Maghreb means West, and Andalus, Spain.
Spain.
Otherwise, they aiming to Andalus because this is where they lost to the Christians in 1492.
Yeah.
Okay, they were lost. And look, Europa, okay, instead of Europe, Europa. Okay, that one thing, ISIS stands for Dawlat in Arabic, ISIS, Daesh. Dawlat, Iraq, Sham. Dawlat is a state, Iraq, and Sham. You see, above the Hijaz, there's Sham. Sham means Syria, Transjordan, and Lebanon. That's the area of Sham. So at the beginning it says, let's start with Dawlat Iraq and Sham, which was the center of Syria and Lebanon and Israel. And after that, they become the Islamic State because they have a bigger vision. And their bigger vision, they actually don't hide it. They don't hide it at all. It says the return of the Caliphate. That's what they want. This is their aiming. Okay? Can you move this slide over? They have like a magazine, okay, like not the Time magazine, the big magazine. The big magazine is in Arabic is an officer, is a commander. In the big one, it says the return of the Caliphate. Thank you. Then they say the law of Allah. Okay, now you can see now. See Allah,
yes.
The law of Allah or the laws of man. Okay, it's not about the laws of man, no democracy, no nothing. It's all about Sharia law. Here it's about Africa. Sharia alone will rule Africa, and I think that shows everything. The faith of the Crusader, the Vatican, the flag of Daesh of ISIS. On the Vatican, basically going back to the history of Crusaders against Muslims. Salah ad-Din against the Crusaders in Krav Chitim near the Sea of Galilee. What they don't hiding, what they want. Islam will dominate the world. Islam is the solution. Jihad against who? The big Satan. United States, the small Satan, us, the infidels, Christians, right? So basically, the Islam is the solution for everything. That's a very important slide. This slide talks about European largest Muslim population in 2017, and in the left-hand side you can see the estimating of foreign fighters in Iraq and Syria for ISIS. So you can see that from France, 700 people were killed from France, and that's exactly like the same relationship of the population of France. Same thing in Germany, same thing in UK. So you can see that the largest Muslim population you have, they fighting for Islamic values. Okay, so let's bring us to what's going on in the region today. We have Israel, small one. You have the exactly the flag. We have the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank and also in Gaza. Now Hamas, never mind. Then in Jordan. We have Jordan with the influence, of course, of the West, of the United States, Egypt, in the between, in Sinai, Daesh, ISIS in a very strong way. In Syria, you can see how the Iraqis, as I said, basically export their ideas, their values to Syria because they took over because of the civil war over there. So in Syria, we have, of course, a strong Iranian influence, of course, in Lebanon, South Lebanon. In Syria, we also have the Russians that also pulling some strings. In between, we have the ISIS, even though ISIS was defeated It's not defeated.
Yeah.
It's still there. It's still living quietly now, because in the Islam there is something in their belief that when you are weak, stay calm, stay quiet, wait for the moment. Slowly. There is also a sentence in Arabic that says, God is with the one who are suffering with patience. Okay, so you take the suffer slowly. At the end of the day, God will support you. So that's Iraq. In Iraq, of course, we have their government, but in south of Iraq, when Ali, remember Ali, the Caliphate, he was buried in Karbala and Najaf, two major cities in south of Iraq. They are Shiite cities, and there was the first place that after, as we said, after Iran felt that they are free from Afghanistan and Iraq, they went to there because they are Shiites. They have a strong Shiite community over there. This is how they start to work together. Moving east, of course, we have Iran and all UAE, Dubai, Qatar. The flag, this green one, it's the Arab League.
Yeah.
Okay, so Saudi Arabia, of course. Now in Yemen, as you can see, divided to two parts. The northern part is Western Arab from the Arab League, and the south part is Shiites, Houthis. Okay, what is Houthis? Houthis is another stream that came from the Shiites. They are very, very tough people. And of course, Iran understood that in a way to fight Saudi Arabia, exactly like they do with us. They attacking them from the north and from the south. There is a war that's going on for more than a decade between Saudi and the Houthis in Iran, in Yemen. On a daily basis, attacks. As you can see, they launch rockets on us, long range rockets, and drones and missiles. I mean, those guys are well fed. Now, there is on the bottom of the map, there is a Bab el-Mandab crossing between the Indian Ocean towards the Red Sea, towards Europe, to the Mediterranean, and this is a very important exactly, and that's a very important line of commerce of ships. Okay, now think about it. If they already did it in the last 2 months, they kidnapped or attacked 3 ships. They said it belonged to Israelis, here and that, whatever. But think about it, and if one day they would launch a missile, and this missile will hit a tanker of oil,
it blows up that entire strip.
It's not the strip; it's the entire world. Because when the tankers can't sail in a free way, the price of the oil will jump to the sky, and everybody would say, we can't, it's our pocket, you can't touch it. So we are sitting on basically a barrel with gunpowder. You just need one spark, and the whole thing will blow.
And I think we've seen on October 7th that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it soon, about October 7th. So that's basically the situation today. It's we'll be talking here for an hour. I'm not that an expert, but I think that everybody who is watching this understand that this is something serious. It's not another conflict. Everything that happens here automatically all around the world, every stone, every shooting, everywhere. I mean, there are so many conflicts around the world. Hundreds. I mean, people are killed on a daily basis. Nobody says the word. Here, everything is headlines.
Yeah.
Because why? because again, God is hiding and we need to seek for him. Everything starts from here. Abraham starts from here. Jesus starts from here. Even Muhammad starts not far away. But it all happens here. So that's about the present today. Let's talk a little bit about October 7th. I chose this picture, never again. It's a very common thing in Israel after the Holocaust to say never again. We'll never again will be slaughtered as sheep. We need to defend ourselves. We need to be strong. We need to be, the new Jew. Forget the old Jewish heritage back from Europe when the Jews were slaughtered on whatever the Cossacks or whatever their non-Jewish neighbor decided to kill them. They were killed. No, not anymore. We'll protect ourselves. So that's, by the way, this shirt is sold in Amazon for $3.50. Never again, the Jewish stars, of course, the yellow, which reminds, of course, the Holocaust, October 7, 2023. Hamas, I'm sure we all know, penetrated to Israel from 22 different points. His success was, he was amazed as well. Nobody really believed that he can get whatever he got. I mean, look at this picture with this pickup truck. It's a little bit difficult to see. Maybe it's better not to see it, but you can see a strapped woman on the back on the pickup truck, been raped a few times. You can see the hand broken completely, the leg over there broken as well. I mean, brutal, barbarian way. I'm sure we all saw and heard about it. Hundreds of people were killed. More than 400 Israeli soldiers were killed. Hundreds of civilians, also foreign workers. I mean, a major tragedy. I'm religious, so I'm not. That happened in Saturday, Shabbat. Yeah. We don't listen to the news. We don't talk on the phone. And in the morning, 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning, I hear boom, 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 boom. So I said, what's going on? Am I dreaming or what? So I went out and I hear boom, boom. I said, I thought maybe they're attacking us because we're supposed to sign the contract with Saddam in Saudi after Sukkot. And suddenly we start to hear helicopters and jets. And suddenly people from my synagogue start to get, phone calls. They come, leave everything in during Shabbat. People driving. I mean, it was like, what's going on?
It's like Yom Kippur.
Exactly, and we couldn't check anything. So people, there are rumors. And suddenly somebody says, they took hostage one kibbutz. Huh? So they took over Sderot. So Sderot, they killed 100 people at that time. Yeah. There was only 100 people. They are hostages. So, are you crazy? People are exaggerating. When the Shabbat was the end, I opened my phone and I couldn't believe. And I went to sleep. I woke up in the morning. I said, maybe I was dreaming. I mean, what's going on? And I opened the phone again, the website. 400 every day, 400, 500, 700. It was like an auction. Every day, 200 more, 300 more. I mean, it was insane. Look here, Zaka, those people that are doing this horrible work of picking up all those bodies. And I'm sure we all read, how they describe, how they found them. I mean, they walked. We met in Sderot.
Yeah,
this is how we met, right?
Yes.
They walked for 2 weeks in the kibbutzim and didn't finish collecting the bodies. I mean, they burned. That's what they did. 1,400 people were killed. 241 were captured. 5,000 were wounded. Look at this. 41 child babies were murdered, burnt alive. There's a story that they put a child, the baby, in an oven and turn on the grill. I mean, which kind of animal does it?
It's not human.
I mean, you hate your enemy, you put a bullet on his head, that's the end of the story. But to do this, I mean, I heard yesterday, I read the testimony of women, the investigators. what they took from the body cam and whatever. They took a woman, raped her, I don't know how many times, and then cut off her chest, her breast, and play ball with it. I mean, how sick could you be?
Human. It's not, you cannot comprehend it. It's not human.
And to see, to sit here and hear about, this Harvard, the head of Harvard says, it depends on the question. Yeah, and it's not exactly, it's not anti-Semitism. What the hell?
And she says it with a smile.
Yeah. I mean, don't you see that the anti-Semitism is like rising like a flood of Al-Aqsa? Exactly. And this is when the Christians and the Jews need to work together. We'll talk about it soon.
Right.
Let's talk 2 weeks before October 7th. This is the thing.
This is where things get interesting.
Exactly.
Right?
This is where God, in Israel, there was always debate, religious, not religious. And one of the major questions that was asked is, where was God in October 7th? I mean, people were slaughtered, young people, babies were burned, and so on and so forth. Where was he? You know where was he? He just went. He went away. Why? Look what happened. Look, see the signs? Chilonit lemeadrin, completely secular. I don't want to have any connection with Jews. The whole debate is Israel is a Jewish state. So all those debates that we saw in the last year about the whole issue of Supreme Court and about the whole thing, it's not about the court. It's about what's going on here. Is the state going towards Judaism during the Torah, or need to be secular as it used to be before? And so that's the picture from the last Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, which was insane. People gathered in Dizengoff Plaza to pray, like they did in the last 10 years, and suddenly those people come and says, how come there is the mechitza, there is a curtain between men and women? Because in the Orthodox way, men praise in one side and the women in the other side. So there is a curtain that separates between them. Says, no, why separation in the public area can't be the way to Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court knows that can't be, you can't divide. I mean, people, look at the pictures. This guy tried to pray, and those guys, what they start to scream at him. People came with shockers and attack people who were praying. Religious people are modest. Women with without a shirt come and dance in front of him for women he can't pray. I mean, look at the pictures. Only 2 weeks before, the whole Israeli society was completely divided. By the way, in every language, you say civic war, right?
Civil war.
Civil war, right? In Israel, in Hebrew, you say milchemet achim, brothers.
Oh,
war.
brother war, yes.
Okay, I'm not talking about the gay parade that Tel Aviv is the most gay-friendly place on earth. Parades in Tel Aviv, of course. There is a parade month, a gay month, a proud, you say that in Hebrew, gava, proud, okay, for the gays. Okay, so there is a month. They teach it on the schools. There is all over the place flags for the whole month. And also in Jerusalem, in the holy city of Jerusalem, they going with their flags, trying to make a point. There was another issue with the ultra-Orthodox, with they go into the army and they don't go to the army, the whole issue of that as well. I mean, the entire country is completely divided. Now, I would, one second. I work very hard during the week. And then on Friday, I have 2 hours to take a nap before Shabbat starts. So before I go to sleep, everything is ready. The whole house is clean and nice and everything is in place. I will go to sleep, wake up, the whole thing is a mess. you know, he fights with this, she fights with him, she doesn't care, and the whole mess. So what do? I come and hit the table. Says, what's going on? Yeah, go to the bathroom. Yeah, that time, in 5 minutes, everybody gets in order. That's exactly what God did. He saw his children fighting. He says, you don't listen, you don't care about each other, I'm going to do something that you all going to get back to order. And those are the pictures that we see. You can see Orthodox kids dancing with soldiers. You can see those Hasidish making tzitzit, which is a religious cloth. You see soldiers are praying before they go to the battle. You can see here, I picked this side. You can see on the right hand corner, you see Be'emunah u'Be'achdut with the flag of Israel in ultra-Orthodox websites.
Right.
You never see in the ultra-Orthodox community Israeli flags. That's the part of a video of Bnei Brak, which is more very ultra-Orthodox city. The management of the city, of the municipality, go and support the kibbutzim people in Be'eri dancing together. And of course, that's the picture that I think epitomizes the whole thing. Very common to see before they went into the battle. They gathered together, they blow the shofar, they pray, they say psalms, they ask God to help them. They say this is the war of God, of the people of the light against the people of darkness, and so on and so forth. And nobody says a word. Suddenly, all those conflicts about religion and this and that, all been erased. One more thing that I think it's important to say, we met in Sderot.
Yeah.
I came as a volunteer and ran the food bank of Sderot, and we got food from you and from many other people from around the country. For you who are living here in Israel, you see how, and you came with us to the bride, to the barbecue, with the soldiers. You saw people donating money, and they do major parties for the soldiers, people cooking for the soldiers, doing their laundry, hosting them, people from the south going to the north, people are living in people's houses. Everybody became living in a huge brotherhood. It's something that is insane. I personally, and that's time to thank the British for Peace for their donation, and we just received it today. Thank you for the barbecue that we do for the soldiers every day, as we speak, even tonight. There is a group of people, volunteers, that go from one unit to another in the north. Now they are in Hermon Mountain in the snow.
Wow.
Barbecue for last night, we did barbecue in the south for about 800 soldiers. 2 nights ago in New Jerusalem for about 400 every day. Amazing. You see people from Tel Aviv, secular, with a ponytail, with tattoos, with whatever, that you're never going to speak with in a day-to-day life. You won't even speak to them. And now you're standing together and you barbecue together. and that's what's bonding you together. And when I did it, I came up with a thought that, back on the days before that, in Israel, in the Independence Days, what we do? Barbecue, right? Huge barbecue. I mean, everywhere we go. When you came with me to the soldiers, in every place we went, smoke, barbecue. We do every day. I said, last week we fed 3,710 soldiers. That's only last week. All by donations, by the way. We all volunteers. Nobody gets paid. Nothing. Now, I thought about it when I did the barbecue. I said, listen, there's something here weird. That how come through the barbecue we feel connected?
Yeah.
I think it's part of deep inside that the Jewish soul is missing the sacrifice.
Yeah.
And with the smoke, this is what I prayed to God. I said, listen, look, we were nasty, we were naughty, we were ugly towards each other, and please forgive us, and please accept our sacrifice. And there is one of the sacrifice. It's called shlamim, from the word shalom, peace.
Mm-hmm.
This is the sacrifice of peace between us, between your children, the religious and the non-religious, the settlers, the people of Tel Aviv, the gay and the straight, the women and the men. It doesn't matter. We all, at the end of the day, we all the children of God. And we were misled, and we were completely wrong. And unfortunately, you brought on us this tragedy, this enormous tragedy. I mean, you really can't even start to think about the consequences of this. Think about it, people, 2 weeks, 2 months out of the house. And the whole parents, children, the authority is completely dissolved. People don't work. 140 people still in Gaza. Nobody knows what's going on there. 60 days. You hear the stories. They've been raped. They've been slaughtered. They've been burned. Crazy. You can't even justify it. What we, the anger of God is so huge that we have to repent. Seriously. And I said to I said, those secular people don't know the terms of repent, about, doing tshuva, all of those things. So please accept it. Accept, every steak that we put on the mangal, every hot dog that it's over there, it's a gift. It's a gift to you because we don't know better than that. And unfortunately, there are so much debate in this country. It's insane. One Jew, two opinions.
You're right.
Right. So how many, for everything, every single thing you can argue about. You can argue about everything. Now think about 1 million people with now guns. What can happen here? But at the end of the day, we need to understand that there is a phrase in Hebrew which is beautiful. It says, אם לא נהיה תלויים אחד בשני, נהיה תלויים אחד לשני, which means, in Hebrew, תלוי has two meanings. One is dependent, the other one is hanged. If we won't be תלוי, dependent on each other, we'll be תלוי, hanged next to each other. And like Biden said, when he met Golda, she said, we have a secret weapon. We have no other place to go. And you can see that when you push the Israelis to the corner, they strike back.
It's true.
And I wish and I pray that this amazing spirit of brotherhood and love and support, and even coming closer to God. Many secular now putting tefillin, pray, keeping Shabbat, and so on and so forth. I hope and I pray that this spirit won't leave us. This spirit will continue with us and raise us from the ashes that we are now. Because some people said this is even worse than the Holocaust. Because of the Holocaust, we were alone. We were with no country, with no army. Here in this country, the people in all those kibbutzim stayed in their shelters for 12, 14 hours until the IDF came. Where was the Air Force? Where was the intelligence? It's insane. Like God basically put a blind on our eyes, put things in make us deaf, and tied our hands. Exactly like it says in Numbers. That's exactly what it says. If God wants, He would close your eyes, make yourself deaf, and your enemies will eat you alive. That's exactly what it says, word to word. Okay, one last thing. When you hear the news, when you see this, so you basically say, now what? So until when are we gonna fight? What's going on here? What's the solution? I mean, this is our faith is to fight.
Yeah.
What? Two-state solution, one solution. Maybe we should kick out the Arabs from Israel and completely transfer them to I don't know where. I mean, what's the solution?
Yeah.
What's the solution?
God.
No solution. That's exactly what God wants. Seek and hide. You think that you're smart. You think that you're in power. You think that because of democracy, all of those meetings and conferences in Oslo, in Camp David, in this and that, that's what will bring the peace? Completely wrong. If you don't come across God and said, listen, I'm a human. It's too big for me. The only solution will come from you, not from nobody else. And people need to understand that there is a reason that all this mess is happening. And that's the thing, that's what we're going to conclude with, is we are in Messianic period. It's about time to start to use this word. Because sometimes people think, Messianic word, it's too drastic, too extreme. Maybe I'm going to sound like a weirdo. No. If it's now God is testing us. We call this period before the Messiah come, we says Chevle Mashiach. Okay? Chevle Mashiach, that's what we say in Hebrew. Chevle Mashiach means the rope of the Mashiach. What's the connection between the rope and the Mashiach?
Pull him?
No. He doesn't pull him, he's going to come by himself. It's like, let's say that there is a boat on a shaky sea, okay? Like in a storm. And you are, not you, somebody is in the water. So what do? You throw a rope for him, right? He needs to hold it. Now, if he doesn't hold it straight enough, hard enough, he will drown. Yeah. That we say Chevle Mashiach. If you don't hold the right rope, which is connected to God, you won't survive. You will be kicked out of the game. So what does it mean now, today, in Hanukkah, to the people who are looking, watching us? They from all around the world, right?
Right.
John Snow from Montana. What does it mean to you? Or whatever from South Korea or from Europe. Everything that we just spoke here in the last hour or so, what can you do? What can you do?
Yes, especially with this floodgate of hatred, anti-Israel on social media, just where truth means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, not only on social media. I mean, on campuses, on the streets. Right. In Europe, Jews are afraid to go with the yarmulke on their head. People are trying to hide with their Judaism. So what can you do? Don't worry, we don't ask for money. It's not about money now. Now it's not about the money. Now it's about you as a believer to stand up for what you believe. And if you truly believe in the Bible, if you truly believe in God, so you have to truly believe that this land is the Holy Land, and it's your land like it's my land. And we need to work together. What does it mean to work together? Meaning that each one of you could be, we are now in Hanukkah, could be like a candle that you can light from one candle to another. That each one of you is a small light, but together we are extreme light, we are big light. A small light can push dark. I mean, if there is a dark room, you turn on the light, you light the candle, there is a light, there is no darkness anymore. We are now standing in the days of light against darkness. If each one of you would take this presentation, would take a British for Peace material, would go on the relevant website. I mean, everything here is online. Go, educate yourself, get more involved, and start to talk with your society, not the guy that come to you with you to the church. You are not, don't preach to the choir. No, go to the ones who are not believing, who do not know what's going on, who are innocent, who don't know exactly what's going on. I mean, this is the savvy stuff.
Exactly.
And just share with them this information. Tell them, listen, it's not what you think.
Yeah.
Now, there are what? 200 million Christians?
Yes.
Think that each one of them reaching 5 people. That's a billion. Every billion will reach 5 people. 5 billion, that's it, we won. As it says that when the Messiah gonna come, the entire nation would come to Jerusalem and worship God.
Okay.
How are they gonna worship God? They need to know Him before. If they don't know Him, how would they come? In our belief, the one that now in this period won't be part of this game, if they won't be part of the belief, they won't be part of the game. They won't be able to see the end of it. For 2,000 years, we'll be waiting. That's it. This is the money time.
Wow, this is exciting.
And
This is so exciting.
And this is when we are coming to Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the day, is the festival of light. Is when 2,000 years ago, the Hasmonite fought against the Greeks. When they tried to force them to forget their religion, to forget their inherited, they forget God. They, in the Bible, in the Talmud, it says that at that time there was no baby bottles. So how they fed the children? They took like a shofar, the horn, and with the narrow part of it, they put milk, and put the narrow part in the baby's mouth, and this is how it drank. So it says in the Talmud that they wrote on the horn, we don't have any connection with God. The Greek made them write it, so they understood that this is a spiritual war. So they said, even though the baby don't even know how to speak, of course he can read, but through his mind, through his subconscious, he would
absorb it.
He would absorb it, exactly. So this is about that's about the Hanukkah. It's not about Sufganiyot and how many donuts and how many calories should I eat, should I not, gain weight or not gain weight, and all those debates. It's about the war, and it's about the fact that against all odds, people understood that they need to face against the great emperor of Greek at that time, and continue with their beliefs against all odds. And there were few against many. They were weak against strong. They had ammunition. They didn't, and they won. And let me finish with one thing. We celebrate Hanukkah for 8 days. But why we celebrate for 8 days? Because when the Hasmonites came to the temple, they found one bottle of oil, holy oil, that they lit the menorah, and then there was a miracle that it was last for the whole 8 days. So we should celebrate for 7 days, because we had oil for the first day.
Oh, right.
Right. The bottle was enough for 1 day.
Yeah.
So there is no miracle. So it lasts for 7 days, actually, not for 8 days.
Yeah.
Right. So why we celebrate for 8 days?
I don't know.
So that's why I'm here. We are celebrating for 8 days because at the beginning, when they lit the first candle, logical people would come and say, what are you doing? Are you crazy? It's not enough. You light for 1 day, then what are you going to do tomorrow? So forget it, don't light. Every person has this kind of debate in his heart. Every time you want to do something, say, why would you do it? Forget it. It ain't gonna work. Nobody gonna help you. Every long, the monkey in Lion King said to what's his name, Simba. Said every long journey starts with one step. Okay.
Right.
Slowly. That's what we are celebrating. We're celebrating the courage of them and their strong belief that we're gonna light the candles and God will help. God will provide. Ask anybody who established any NGO or any company or any whatever, all those visionaries. When they started, everybody says, that ain't gonna work, forget it, waste of time. And they believe, and they made it.
They made it.
And that's what we're celebrating for.
One small light, one voice, yours.
Like Jesus says,
That's it.
light on
Light of the world.
Yeah.
So, are you going to lead us in that one light for the first night?
With pleasure.
Sarah, Zoe, the rest of the team, please join us. This is what we're here for.
Okay. Big lights.
Right, here we go.
I need like a candle.
Oh, you do.
By the way, in our halacha, in our deeds, we are not able to use the light of the menorah. We just need to see it.
Oh.
Again, spiritual. Don't use it, just absorb it. So please.
No, you look.
No, you just don't worry. As a gentle, you can write it. Don't worry, it's okay. Okay. So we basically bless three blessings. The first one is thank you God for having us light the candle. Second one is thank you for the miracles that you did to our ancient fathers, as you do to our miracles those days. And the third one is only in the first night, when you basically pray God to let us come to this date from last year. Okay, Shechianu. Okay? ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר חנוכה. אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשה ניסים לאבותינו בימים ההם בזמן הזה. אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו כאילו הגיענו לזמן הזה. Amen. You learn it. Yeah. The light. That's what leads us.
Guys, and this is the message that we want to go out with tonight before we dig into the Sufganiyot over here. No, you should the first night. I've spoken to so many people, and the message is always the same. Is it even worth it? And as you can see here tonight, your voice is worth it. Your light is worth it. So, from Jerusalem, the city of the great king, from Avihu and the publications department, we want to say Chag Sameach from Jerusalem, from the city of the great king. This is Ilse Strauss saying good night.